get scared when I'm in water that I can't see
We're
things.
good.
Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're moving into the last phase of our section today, and we're starting out with amazing Jaimsyne, who, well, first off, she started as a child actor. She was a teen model, and it was the 70s, so then she was a disco queen with a fake ID. So Jaimsyne has been, she's gone down a lot of roads that have brought her to the magic that she brings forward. So she after, you know, like being a child actor and a teen model and partying a little bit, she became a TV writer. She was a writer for TV and film. And right now she's still writing. She's working on her first novel. But she's also an entrepreneur and a startup founder. She started like the celebrity gift bag industry. So when they go to, you know, like the Oscars and there's like gorgeous gift bags with really beautiful things. She started that whole thing. Also, she created the celebrity backstage lounge industry. And she was the first person to discount lifestyle services online. And so what she's going to talk to us about now are the processes she teaches, which are future building and the Genius Code. And I'm just going to let you explain that because you do it so much better than me.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, I just want to thank you, Sally, and thank you, Monte, and for everyone that's come on this beautiful event call today. I just want to thank you so much. It's that spirit inside of you, right? That is indomitable. You keep moving forward regardless of the circumstances, right? And I came here to speak to you today. I came here to speak to that part of you that is indomitable, that keeps on going, that just knows that you are going to actualize who you truly are and your work into the world, your visionary work into the world. And I asked myself, you know, and God, universe, your higher self, however you want to phrase it. I don't put anything on, like, call it whatever you want. Sometimes I call God Louie. So Louie, so I asked, what is it in this 30 minutes that I could really give to you? And so listen in, because I got some really great uploads and I want to share those with you. And I would also love for you to get a piece of paper because I'm going to have you do a couple of things. I want to give you something to walk away with today, even in this 30-minute period of time. It's amazing, even what we can do in 3 to 5 minutes, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment to get some paper and a pen. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay. All right. So first I want to talk to you about being a visionary. And I want to give to you a definition that, like, all this stuff comes through my morning work where I just sit with God, Louie, for hours every day, and I have for decades. And so all this information that I'm giving you is original information. Like it's Gnostic. I'm not picking it up from others and regurgitating it forward. Okay. So for me, the definition of a visionary is to bring the unknown, unseen into the known seen world. So it's never existed before. You know, there's this fallacy, this lie actually, that everything's been done before. Every story's been told. Well, at the human level, I would say that's true. But at the superhuman level, I completely disagree. Because we have within us, you know, when I did a little search online, I read about over 200 sort of superpowers that humans can actually possess, have been known to possess throughout history. One of my favorites was this thing called thermography, T-H-A-U-M-A-G-R-A-P-H-Y, thermography, which means the ability to work wonders. So we feel that our intuition is sometimes we feel that that's our greatest superpower, but we have powers we haven't even stepped into. And we, in crisis moments, that's when we have an opportunity to really put ourselves to the test and pull these superpowers out of us, right? And so much of my life, I've noticed that most people's work is anecdotal, meaning that they don't actually give you processes by which you can find these superpowers within you and use them in your life. And another truth I feel like I really want to share with you is having been a 4-time startup founder with 3 very successful companies and 1 fantastic failure. And they were all equally wonderful. One thing I can tell you for sure is that everybody's making it up. Everybody's making it up. There is no template to grow a business. And especially if you're a visionary, and this is the part I really hope you hear. And I like to call, there's a little acronym that I love that kind of came to me, and that is the voices of the 21st century and beyond. The visionaries, outliers, innovators, inventors, creators, creatives, entrepreneurs, and soul shifters, soul shakers, right? That's the voices of this century and beyond. And we're the ones that are literally pulling this information, this information, it's inside of us, and it brings society, it brings us into more formation, into alignment, right? With who we truly are and what we're meant to be doing here. And so these things have never been done before. And if you're, and often a visionary, or one of the, if you're a voice in the world, often you feel like you don't have a voice. And often you will go from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, because they're not a visionary, they're not a voice. And so they don't know that you don't fit into a template. There's no template that you're going to fit into, because what you're doing has never been done before. What you see has never been done before. Look, if you were an attorney who had a practice, or an accountant who had a practice, right? There's a process, there's a template for that. There's a template for success for that, let's say. But for what you're doing, there isn't. And so when people tell you that you have shiny object syndrome, no, it goes back to that statement that I made. It is your indomitable spirit that continues to guide you forward, because it knows that you just haven't cracked the code yet. And the truth is that you're not meant to do it alone. You're just not. And, we've been lone wolves, many of us, the voices, us voices, we've been lone wolves for much of our lives. And we're meant to have a wolf pack. And so the Visionaries actually offers you this opportunity to be a part of a wolf pack, what Sally is creating here. And, let's take 3 deep breaths together. This is one of my favorite things to do, because it brings your left and right brain hemispheres together, brings you into your presence. So let's together take 3 deep breaths. So often very analytical people will ask you, as they ask me, so what's the point? They want to get right to the point. And I have a great example. A few weeks ago, I noticed that someone had an epiphany about who they were, about their work, and it had come to them in the middle of the night. So I knew that this was, call it a download or an upload, right? A source download, upload. And so immediately people were asking that person to make decisions about where they were going to go with that. This is a very common occurrence with people who are working from an analytical place with someone who is a voice, with someone who has visionary capabilities, right? It's immediately going to the point. We live in a, we have lived up until this point in a world that is obsessed with growth, when the truth is that growth is a very sick and very dysfunctional thing. And so when we talk about growth in our businesses, it's always about like, what are you doing to move the ball forward? What do you do? And if your business and you are a marriage, a soul marriage, then what you're really doing is you're emerging, and your business is emerging. And unlike a law firm or an accounting firm, your emerging could look messy to other people, right? It can look fractured, disjointed, perhaps even disconnected. But the truth is, because you're a visionary, an outlier, an innovator, an inventor, a creator, a creative, an entrepreneur, a soul shifter, you are constantly growing, and your business is a reflection of that. And so I just want to share with you that can be so painful, right? It can be maddening, and it can cause you to be very sad, and it can take you out of the game. And there's a little phrase that I love called "kill the visionary." And in our society, people love to kill the visionary, that spirit within you, and they don't even know they're doing it. They want to, it's almost like they want to take your idea and they want to tear it apart and give you a better one back. And in that, there's such goodness on their part. Truly there is. They want to help you. They want to support you. Don't you know you're not doing it right? And we were trained to give each other opinions, which is why most people won't look inside themselves for the answers. And the truth is that you can get yourself, you can develop these well over 200 superpowers to take yourself places that no one's ever been, and you'll be the 100th monkey. You'll be the first one there, like Roger Bannister running that 5-minute mile, when doctors had, all of the experts and scientists had all said, if you run a 5-minute mile, your heart will explode. That's wow, right? So he runs that mile, and within the next couple of weeks, 17 more people run a 5-minute mile. And then now a 5-minute mile is standard, but it wasn't. And so these things that we're doing, this divine intelligent operating system that you have, that's what I like to refer to it. It is a brain that is so much bigger than the one here, but it includes this one too. And so I would love to do a little activation with you. There is meditation and there is activation. And I frankly prefer activation. Activation is related to you finding your truth in the world, knowing who you are. And at any moment, you can activate yourself, literally less than a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes we might do. I'm checking my time to see how much I have. We're going to do about a 3-minute activation right now. And I'm going to tell you what an activation is. And this is sort of proof of your superpowers, right? And you can do this anytime. When I asked what I could give you, again, what came to me was to give you this activation. But I didn't want to just give you the activation without any information or any sort of background around this, right? I wanted to give it to you like on an ornate silver and gold platter, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And you know what? I'm getting that we might go a little more than 5 minutes, but whatever. If we do this even all the way to the end of my time, I am fine with that because this is such a phenomenal tool. All right. And I'm gonna share a few details about it first. It's very simple. It's that 3 breath process. And then I don't know if you've ever read Power versus Force, but it was such a powerful book for me to read. And I only read what I'm guided to read. I used to read like endlessly, everything. And one day that stopped. I just said, I'm just going to trust this voice inside me to know moment by moment exactly what I need to read, exactly where I need to go. And so this book came into my orbit maybe about 20 years ago. And in it, I recognized that it was one of the most important things in my life. And it's this. And it may be that for you too, or not. But in it, it says that, so it was written by David Hawkins and Linus Pauling, who is a Nobel Prize winning nuclear physicist. And Linus Pauling actually calibrated the electrical current of emotion. And what he discovered was that joy has an electrical current of 610. Love is about 528. And this electrical current, we are electricity. We have that same current, we have a current inside of us. And we can, people talk about raising your vibration, right? I like to use the more technical term here, the more scientific term, but we can actually, and this is a superpower, we can take ourselves from one emotion to another. And so like that. And so joy, I believe, is the place where creation begins. And I'm not talking about creativity. While creativity can be a component of creation, again, is where you bring the unknown, unseen into the known seen world. It's that process of consciously bringing it in, right? And we live on a planet that has been in a phase of unconscious destruction. So as creators, we can be consciously creating or consciously destructing, right? Which is important. We go through these birth, death cycles. It's part of our emergence process, our emergence into remembering who we fully are. So let's take 3 deep breaths. Just checking the time. Okay. So this is a conscious act of creation. My favorite time to do this is in the early morning. And I wrote a little guide, and right before we end, I will give you my email address and you can write to me and I'll send you that guide if you'd like it, which delves very deeply into this process. But it's extremely simple, as most good things are. It just requires our breath and our intent. I don't like to use the word intention because do you hear what it says? Intention. Okay, so it's our intent and our breath. And so I'm going to take you through this little process, and you've got your piece of paper and your pen. You're going to need it for this. So if you at first thought, oh, I'm going to blow it off, you might want to get that piece of paper and your pen. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go into joy, and we're going to pull something out today that you might not have known, but here we go. So we're going to close our eyes, and we're going to take these 3 deep breaths. I want you to just feel your body, this body, this temple that houses your soul. Take these 3 deep breaths. Feel your body. And this is how we're going to bypass just using our brain. We're going to take ourselves into another type of brain wave, right? So if you could take another 3 deep breaths, and this time feel into your heart. Feel deeply into your heart and just notice, does it feel tight or expansive, soft, hard, jaggedy, smooth, crisp, soft, and kind of, oh, I don't know, silky? How does your heart feel? I mean, literally the feeling, not the emotion. How does it feel? And then take a moment and take another 3 deep breaths. And this time, experience how you're feeling. Just experience how you're feeling. Don't short yourself on those 3 deep breaths. Really take those 3 deep breaths. Consciousness occurs when we breathe, right? So how are you feeling? And to breathe means to breathe in the spirit of God, the force of life, the breath of life, the flower of life. Respirare, to breathe in over and over again, the spirit of life. So I want you to just be present with yourself and tell yourself, I love you. I love you. And say your name. You can say it out loud. You can say it to yourself. And just feel your heart speaking back to you when you do that. Beautiful. And now we're going to go into our soul. Our heart is the doorway to our soul. Our heart is the doorway to joy. And so I want you to take 3 deep breaths now and allow yourself to experience a memory of joy. Please don't have it be something related to food. Have it be a real experience with nature or another human being or an animal companion, right? A moment, a memory of joy. Don't judge it. Whatever comes to you, it's the first thing that came to you, let that be. And notice, what I always notice is how us humans only feel joy from about our throat down to about, the midpoint of our heart chakra. And so if you could allow that joy to move down your arms and out through your hands and fingers and up through your neck and your head, behind your eyes, into your nasal passages, throughout your entire throat, your lips, your ears, every follicle on your beautiful head, your spine, your nervous system, your guts, all your organs, your waist, all your sexual organs filled with joy, your legs, your feet, your toenails, the soles of your feet, aptly named. And so feel joy. This is where I have consistently met my soul. And if you could say, soul, thank you for meeting me here right now, alone or to yourself. Soul, thank you for meeting me here right now. And so this place of joy, this is where creation begins. And there is some information that your soul has for you right now. And just let it come through you. Pick up your pen and start writing. And just let your soul speak to you. Let your soul speak to you. Just write what it says, even if it seems strange, like turquoise. and the number 312, and whatever comes, just let it. One time, a shiny black garbage can were the words that came to me. It was so profound. Let the words come. Our soul speaks in a different language than we do. And it's always, always talking to us. And we're usually not hearing it or understanding it. And so when you have written, so go ahead and continue or listen to this next question. Soul, what is the significance and meaning of that? Whatever you just wrote, ask soul, what is the significance and meaning of that right now? Soul, what is the significance and meaning of that? It's the first thing that comes to you. Don't think it, be it. Just let it come to you. The first thing that comes to you, that's your soul. It's immediate. Keep breathing. Don't stop your breathing. Right? Emotion rides on the breath. Energy in motion rides on the breath. And so the last question is soul. What is it that you would love for me to know about my particular mission, vision, and purpose in the world right now? First thing that comes to you. Don't judge. First thing that comes to you, soul. What is it that you would like me to know right now about my mission, vision, and purpose? And just write that down. Even if you don't know it, it's not going to come into your head. It's not going to come into your head. It's going to come through your hand, from your heart. Through your hand, from your heart. I'm just giving you a little moment to complete this. Beautiful. And you can send me I'll send you the book, and I'll send you a guided process for this that you can do in the morning to go with the guide. And the practice of this has made me currency. It's helped me understand my current. And I believe that current equals currency. And our current doesn't come from here. It doesn't come from here. It comes from our soul. It comes from the this divine intelligent operating system, which is really our soul and our connection to source, right? And so when I said in Power versus Force, it had one of the most important things that I'd ever read, and that is if 1% of the population vibrates, has an electrical currency or at love or above, we can transform all negativity on this planet. So that became my mission. And this process is the fastest way that I know to do that. But not only that, your impact in the world, people will ask you, what's your why? For a visionary, that's not enough. We're talking impact. We're talking Steve Jobs saying, I want to make a dent in the universe. Do you think he operated alone? Absolutely not. And if you listen to his Stanford address, you'll hear him say his two greatest gifts, creation and intuition. And so I asked, what in the heck did that mean exactly? And this is a component of that. This practice every morning, you asking it, will guide you in your actions that day, and it will take you into actualizing your vision. So that wraps up my time with you today. And I just want to say a shout out to the many of I know several of my clients and my friends, my family are listening. And I want to say a shout out to them. And I want to say a shout out to every single soul on this call, because your drive and determination is so moving to me to actualize your vision. And in a world where vision has been such a threat, it's essential. It is essential right now. And so I I encourage you, whatever practice, this one or another one, please do something to actualize your vision. It is essential. And you can reach me at JAIMSYNE at JAIMSYNE Blakely, BLAKELY.com for that guide and that guided meditation. All right. Thanks so much.
I have to just say, darling, that was just profound. And we say we speak the same language. We could
Yes.
be, what are those?
Sisters.
Well, definitely sisters. But if I sat on your knee and you operated my mouth, what is that? Those people who do the puppets.
Yes.
So I want to tell you. I want to tell you what came out for me during that. So Jaimsyne and I will be working together. Flow, ready, love. So what's the significance of this? There's a meaning for working for humanity. To know, because there's much work in LA, it's a connection and a vision center and a hub to send out new earth media.
Ooh, wow, that's so profound.
It was so specific. It wasn't even like one of my flotations with blue and whatever, I do that too. But it was so specific. So thank you so much. And I will
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me on. I feel so blessed.
Excellent. Thank you, Jaimsyne.
It's a pleasure.
Perfect. So now we are going to move in. We've got Adam Lewis Walker is here to teach us about getting a TEDx talk. So I'm going to intro Adam, and then we're going to get straight into it. So Adam is a former teacher and international and an international pole vaulter. In 2008, he was getting ready for the Olympics when he had a freak accident, broke his leg, and then ended up going through, I'm not sure how many surgeries, but it was surgery, recovery, 3, 4. Oh my, it was a lot. Basically, it put him into a depression, which is something he'd never been. I mean, he was an athlete, he was a driver, really going after it in life. And, and he really had to look inside and find himself. And that's when he came up with Awakening Your Alpha, which turned into a podcast in, I believe it was 2014. Since then, they've had 400 episodes. 2016, he did a TEDx talk, which is actually really great. It's a really beautiful look at performance. And, he talks about how the alpha is not, it's seen as, masculine, but what he's talking about is getting to the height of your ability, shining the brightest that you can. And so then he read a best-selling book, another book, and now he's teaching people how to get their podcast so they can get their messages out there. You can get the book right there. So Adam, why don't you come in and show them how to get a TEDx talk? How do you get ready for that?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Sally and Monte. Really happy to be here. Yeah, good intro. That I can hit the ground running. So I've got 15 minutes. That's what I know, and dig into it, shall I? You're muted, Sally. I can't hear you.
I just realized that. I'm going to say that whatever is happening at 11:11, I'm going to interrupt so that we just go straight into our extra thing. So yes, carry on.
Is that in 20 minutes anyway? Is that right?
It is. And there's Pam, not Pam, there's Michelle I also want to do. So right now we're slightly in a weird time and there's no problem. I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
And I'll do what I can.
Yeah, cool.
15 or 10 minutes was that in the end?
10.
Love a challenge. Okay, perfect. So the power of a TEDx for starters is creativity thrives under constraints. I think a lazy talk is an hour. If you've got a half hour, you've got to put more work into it. If you've got 20 minutes, you've got to put more work. And if you've got 15 to 10, you've got to put more work into it, or at least know what are the core pieces of your message. And that is really the power of a TED talk, as people's attention spans seem to get shorter. I'm sure they've always been short. So I will dig in. My intro covered a lot. That's got my journey out the way. The things that have moved the needle for me have always, it was highlighted there, is publishing a book. I was part of a co-authored book. I know people get involved in them. And that was a bestseller in 2013. And then that really kind of ignited that I need to share these kind of conversations that I was having outside of that book. And that was the idea for the podcast and the book at the same time. And I always thought that would be a TEDx at some point. So that's what happened. The TEDx forced me to be concise. Up to that point, Awakening Ralph was a lot of good things, but it was very hard to explain in a very short time. So the TEDx, if I had to break it down into my TEDx into 3 pieces, it was awareness, action, and ascension. And that's personal ascension in areas of your life that are important to you. So that ended up being the 3 chapters, or the 3 sections of my book. And I use that as a springboard. And if you're interested in that, as it was mentioned, you watch 3 minutes of my TEDx and you either think, I like this, I want to listen to the podcast or buy the book, or what is this guy talking about? And he talks funny, and move on. Either way is useful. And that's kind of the power of a TEDx. And also it's, someone's giving you the vote of confidence to put you on that stage. So that's also kind of, for me as I book a lot of podcast guests. Anyone who's listening who's a TEDx speaker, I'll probably pretty much have you on, because I know you've done the work and gone through the process, and your idea is concise and works in a short space of time, like a podcast interview. So you may have heard of the TED commandments, which is 10 key points that TED gives out to, or is out there in the kind of general world. They give us guidance to their TEDx speakers or TED speakers. It's their whole kind of commandments. I have the Talk X 10 steps. I wouldn't say commandments, because it's not really, mine are more in a linear, this is kind of the order, which I think is helpful to the audience today as well, in kind of just getting their head around, okay, I'm interested. What do I do first? What do I need to some steps to go through, and make sure you don't miss anything. Obviously some steps are bigger than others. And in the time I've got, I will get all of them steps in, and we'll go from there. I'd love Q&A, but we may not have time. Maybe for after the 11:11 thing, I'm happy to hang around. Okay, so step 1, as we've kind of been touching on a little bit, is kind of the essentials, and coming into it from a point of the mindset, and also knowing the key pieces of what getting a TEDx involves. Lots of people still surprises me, because I'm so deep into the TED and TEDx arena, and I've got to get it in, because they are such a strong brand. I make sure I am an independent looking in. I have no affiliation with TED or TEDx. I'm actually speaking to someone from TED next week, but it's important, I think, because you sometimes get people out there like TED coaches and things like that. Some may be affiliated with TED. I am, someone who is a massive fan, believes in the power of it, and advises and helps people to get their ideas together so they can hopefully and ideally get on that stage. So that said, timings, if you're looking at it now from a standing start, 6 months to a year, in my opinion, and for some people that may be quite quick, the TEDx. If you're going much longer than that, there's maybe some major things out of your control, like coronavirus, or maybe you weren't doing the right things. It's not about just putting the work in, because obviously a lot of people want to get a TEDx, but a smaller percentage do. So, but that is an ideal, I'd say, attainable target. 6 to 18 months at the longest. If it goes past there, then there's something's amiss. So that'd be the first thing to, don't be thinking, oh, I didn't get it in 3 months, I'm disappointed, I'm going to drop tools and kind of just let it go. That happens a lot to a lot of people. I see that a lot, even inside my Talk Accelerator program. So I make sure you get the mindset. Yeah, you can get it quicker, but the people who get TEDx talks are the ones who don't have to be relentless in terms of putting loads of work in, but they stay on it. They're there for the journey. It's not a quick fix. That's the first thing. It's got to come back to that idea worth sharing. I don't think you're going to push through, barriers if you're just thinking, oh, I want to do it for the credibility and the prestige that comes with it. So Talk Essentials, that would be some of the things, sort of step 1. Number 2, messenger. What is your core message? That is the first point. I look at it as that's the broad thing. Most people can talk around their message. And if it's too long a conversation, do the work to get that message really clear. That is not your TEDx talk. And that's what people make a mistake as well. They try and, verbal, blur all of their entire message onto a TEDx stage. That is not the place for it. This is not a place for a keynote. It's not the place for a presentation you've done before, or your story. I know we've been talking about stories. Stories are great and they're a huge part of TEDx, but that's not what will get you a TEDx. It's about the idea. So get really clear on your core message first, and then the ideas will come from that, and it still aligns with everything you're all about, and you'll be happy to point, family members, grandkids, whatever it is, 10 years down the line, it will still sit true with you and something you believe in. Step 3, the hunt. And this is really about how to research and find and dig into, and actually doing the process of, you should be, you know, getting that awareness up of, where are these TEDx events? What type of TEDx? Is it a TEDx Ed, TEDx Woman, TEDx University? Is it a level 1 event, level 2? Because when they first start, you're only allowed like 100 guests in them. You know, not all TEDx events are created equal. You have ones like the Detroit this year was planned to be in a stadium of 65,000 people. I don't think that's the capacity of the stadium. I don't know, obviously, how many there's going to have in there, but that's, you know, very different to a first time event. And let me know if I'm talking too fast, Sally. I know you're English as well, but I'm really trying to give as much as I can in here, and I'm aware I can talk fast. So just okay, cool. So yeah, there's certain things to do in your research. It's not always about, oh, looking for events. Oh, I hope they'll take me. There's certain events you will not want to be involved in for various reasons. There may not be anything wrong with them, but they're not a fit for you. And some events, obviously, you know, it's like being a professional to get on there. You know, it's like the X Factor or America's Got Talent, getting knocked out of rounds and going to this and going to, you know, dinners months before with sponsors. And then other ones could be their first time they're doing it. And it's, as long as you prepare yourself and keep in contact with the organizer, you pretty much would then turn up the next day. Every event is different. It's part of the reason why I'm here, because it is a minefield, but you just got to kind of see the clear path. And there's lots of things you could do, but you need to just focus on one course and really, you know, be individual to you on that side of things. So that's important in terms of when you're looking for events to share your message. You can watch the videos of past events. You know, if there's not a very good video, that may be a big downer for you, and you may not pursue that event. So it's important to look into this. Step 4, the idea. Okay, I've got to speed this up. Again, we talked about the message. Within your message, as great as it may be, and I'm sure it is, that doesn't mean you're going to get a TEDx, and TEDx organizers will have, you know, they've heard a lot of great stories. It's about what is the idea, and then that extra layer, not just the idea worth sharing, what is your unique idea worth sharing? And that comes back to, as well, potentially research. Once you've done, you know, done the work to get your idea, research what's out there. I have seen it happen many times. Even doing the work to get this very unique, great idea, put one search in on YouTube, and your unique, very great idea that is so unique has already been done, even on the TEDx stage. And it has to be unique in general. It's not just the TEDx stage. Interestingly as well, I didn't think of this till the last, you know, year or so. If you have done that idea before, it is not unique to TEDx. So if you've done a blog post on your most unique idea like 6 months ago, they will go and do a search for your unique idea. And the fact that it's you sharing it does not matter for a lot of TEDx organizers, because then it's not unique to their event. Remember, their point of view, they want a unique idea. If it's already out there, it is not unique. Step 5, and you notice this is quite a way down the line. Again, I think this is helpful just going through this fast, because step 5, application, many people start with that step, which first impressions, you know, count. If you come to the application or the TEDx organizer as your step 1, oh dear. You know, if you haven't done at least like, what is your clear message? And then what is your unique idea worth sharing, and done your homework, that first impression is going to happen positively or negatively, or if we don't even label it, it's going to happen, whatever that is. So it's important to do that at the right time, and after you've identified and done the work in terms of what's the right fit for you in an event and the theme of an event. I didn't even mention that. Every event has a specific theme. Most of the time, not always. Some are very specific and some are very broad, that they could get any kind of talk under that banner. So in your application, there's specific things to do to enhance. It is competitive. Let's not mess around. You may have a brilliant, unique idea worth sharing, and your evil twin may have a brilliant, unique idea worth sharing. One has a little bit of smarts in terms of how to apply and get that across to the event organizer. They're gonna, you know, get that spot. So it's just important not to think, I've done all this work, I've got this brilliant, unique idea worth sharing. You want me, and just not pay attention to get this application done right. So again, there's a lot of them have videos. A lot of them might not ask for a video, but there's still opportunity to really put yourself in a strong position. Then step 6, and it's some of these, and again, just give me a, if we really need kind of like a wrap up or 1 minute, Okay, if we give me a 1 minute mark and I will get everything in. So step 6, talk creation. So again, some people get this the wrong way round. If you look at it, if we're looking at a 10 step or, you know, my Talk X commandments, this is in the second half. We haven't talked about the talk yet. So again, the flip side of this, the worst case scenario, which I don't want you to do, because this is how I feel a lot of stories and ideas are just stuck in the basement or just don't get out there, is you spend all this time locking yourself away, creating this perfect talk, writing this perfect book, and then it never gets out there. So there's no point doing lots and lots of work on your perfect TEDx talk until you've secured it, because if you refer to the overview at the start, they're not going to say, yes, you've got a TEDx talk, it's next week. If they did that, number one, say, no, thank you. What kind of organization are you running here? So you're going to get notice. That's when you can start to ramp up, you know, the talk creation. That's step 6. And there's a specific structures. 1 minute. Okay, perfect. There's specific structures that I could spend 20 minutes talking about, and how to create your TEDx. And it's always different. Step 7, amplify your talk. Again, then once you've got that clear structure, then you can, how can you enhance it? What things can you improve on, and specific things that need to be or should be in most powerful talks. And you can learn from examples that are out there on TED and some of your favorite ones. Then step 8, make it happen. If you haven't got that TEDx secured now, why not? Focus on putting yourself out there. What else can you do? This is the step where most people will tuck up and go, I haven't got it. It wasn't meant for me. And that's that. You've got to stay the course. Step 9, do the work. And this is in terms of getting the talk and preparing the talk and enhance that. Put the reps in and further enhance your talk and rehearse it. And then step 10, completion. Much like most people write 80-90% of a book or even a whole book and don't get it out there, finish your talk, even if it's that first draft that's done and dusted, and then get it on the stage. Done.
Well, nice dismount.
What is your idea worth sharing? I want to know.
Yes. I want to ask one question. So, because we've got a couple minutes before we go into meditation, then we're going to do the advert after. So what is, like, when you talk about going the extra mile to get it, you know, like say you send in the application, what have you seen, like some creative things that people do? Do they just keep applying, or like, how do people take that extra step?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think sometimes people forget that the TEDx organizers are just people. So relationships do count, you know, how you approach things. Even if you have the best idea, you know, there's so many ways you can get this right, so many ways you can get it wrong. And, you know, just think for yourself, if someone like wanted to come on your show or on your podcast or on your, you know, your event here, I could be the world's best leading authority on a subject. But if I just was a little bit off, or, you know, you gave the vibe that, he's going to be a bit of a trouble here. They're organizing an event. They want to see, you know, that you understand the importance of this, and they can, you know, get you on, and you're going to add to the event, not even like harass them for little details that you're going to even help. So they're running events. That'd be the first thing. And every event organizer is different. There is the fact what will work with one will repel another. So do your homework. And as I say, linked to that, there's so many different ways you can connect with a TEDx organizer. I mean, just like I touched on the application process, not all will ask for a video. So how about, and not many people do something like this, the ones that don't ask for a video, why don't you put in a little video? Because straight away, they're going to see, okay, because if you're scared of being on video, potentially the TEDx is not the spot for you at this point, because, you know, you're going to be on video. And so that short video, because then again, you're showing that you can stay on time, and you're not going to run over, which is another worry for TEDx organizers. And you're showing that you can speak. So if they've got a TEDx organizer take someone who's like really struggles to speak, then they know they've got to take them for a long journey to get to that stage, which they may be willing to do because the idea may be that strong, or they may think, I'm going to lean to the ones who kind of, I feel like I'm not going to have to put so much work in. And that's the thing. Some TEDx organizers, they have a whole kind of, you know, help support, and others will have zero. And that's just the nature of, it's very independently organized event is what the TEDx means. And so it's, you know, it's a massive variation, and some application processes are 10 months, some are, you know, 4 months. So
I want to ask one last quick question because you already had the Awaken Your Alpha podcast. Excuse me. And the title was Awaken Your Alpha. I know there was a second part to it. How did you do the differentiation so that it was an original idea?
Yeah. So the key part about, and again, part of what I do now in my Talk Accelerator process, a lot of what I'm sharing is things that have gone well, but more than half of it is things I would do differently, which is a huge learning curve. And part of the reason in January this year, I was like, I've got an idea that worth sharing. I hadn't had a new one for a long time. I spoke at one at 2018, but I didn't do a new TEDx. I introduced the past one because that was my message. And I've got one July 30th, as long as everything keeps going well, but it's secured. Yeah, I didn't do that well. I assumed the TEDx organizer, that was a working title and it never got worked on, is the honest truth. And I'm like, man, so that talk ideally would have a specific, unique, differentiated title. It should have, but it doesn't. And you can't change it. Once the video's out, they can't change the title unless you want to take the whole video down, and then you'd lose, for me, like 10,000 views. So yeah, it's an important, and that's something I really work on with my clients as well, because yeah, because that, for me, that was, the ball was dropped by me, the organizer, or I didn't know what I didn't know at that point. So yeah, it's a good question. And that's what I really, part of this, I don't want people to make the same mistakes that I did. But again, I didn't know at the time.
Awesome. Where's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, so talkaccelerator.com. If we're talking about specifically this, that's where the links straight to the podcast. If you're interested, there's you can sign up to get the latest insider tips from TEDx organizers and speakers. The podcast specifically only interviews TEDx speakers and organizers. Again, short, 18-minute or under interviews like a TEDx. How they got on the TEDx, what they did, what they're looking for, really detailed. So that if you're not interested in TEDx, it's an awful podcast for you. But if you are, it's really useful.
Got to go.
And awesome. Drop the link.
To hear your idea clarity calls. I do them every Thursday for people who are interested.
Thank you so much, Adam. And sorry to be an 11-11 freak, but here we go. So can everybody connect at this master number time now? Shut your eyes, because we actually are going to do some good for the coronavirus. So just take a deep breath in and exhale. And take another deep breath in and exhale. And one more of those. I want you to imagine 6 months from now, when there is no restrictions, when the wave of this movement into a new earth has already taken place, that the pause has already happened. I want you to imagine the one thing that this time has given you, that you want to put into something 6 months or later than that. What do you want to do with that? So do you want to do a TEDx talk? Do you want to speak on stage? Do you want to go on an epic adventure with your loved ones? Do you want to be with the love of your life? Do you want to create an entirely new business now that you've had pause? And I want you to just feel like, whatever that is, what does it make you feel like? And then expand that feeling. So if you are imagining this new earth, like a new chapter in your life, and you got everything that you wanted, and you were able to travel and move around, and you saw places in the earth that were operating completely differently, like waves of eco lodges and sustainability and clean water and programs that helped people work from home with their families And for areas that were particularly poor, to suddenly have all the debt dropped. And for the animals to have reproduced themselves away from extinction. And for this wave of shift and transformation to have just blown over like a gentle breeze. And at this time, we can honor the souls who are leaving. And we can say, journey home to the light. Go in peace. You are loved. And then we can allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to know that we think we are infinite, and we are, but sometimes we have to go. And that maybe recently we've been feeling that vulnerability. Allow that also to be part of this shift. And then to bring in the highest intention for this planet and for all the people now. Thought is completely creative. We create this new earth by feeding visions of things that we want and that is workability for all. The highest level of healing is to visualize the things in their perfect place, in perfect health. And so just take a favorite area of the universe that you like. Maybe it's a place that you love going to. And imagine it in its healthiest form. Imagine yourself in your healthiest form. Imagine that this is going to be the greatest part of your life coming up. And that all the work that you've done, nothing is lost. In fact, this is the beginning of the greatest era. And then imagine that we are standing in a huge circle. All the people on this call. And imagine holding the person's hands next to you. So we're standing in a circle. And from your heart to the person on the left, send a beam of gold in that direction around the circle. And receive a beam of gold from the right. And feel this energetic frequency of connection and love, that you are not alone. You are not isolated. You are so connected at this time. That this is like a rebirth, a reboot. And just like Jaimsyne said, when we reboot and rebirth, sometimes it occurs as ugly. That it's the old shadows falling off. The larva stage of the butterfly. It's awkward. But that we are resonating and moving towards the stage of the butterfly. And then as if you can imagine millions of butterflies flying up out of this circle. And going across the world, spreading little new seeds of all the ideas that you have, all the dreams and visions, all the connections are perfectly there for you. You meet the right people at the right time. You have the right conversations. And send your butterflies as far as you can imagine, bringing peace and love and the highest form of elevation for this planet. Take both hands and place them on your heart. And just allow yourself to come back into the space. You can rub your heart. You can feel this beautiful space that we've worked on a lot today. Breathe into it. And then just come back into the space. So thank you for connecting with that. All of these meditations, connections, alignments, frequencies help right now. I did hear a very interesting channeled piece of information that this is a storm, and no matter what, this storm was coming. But depending upon how we handle the energy, how we ground ourselves and root ourselves and are like rocks, then the storm will pass quicker. We can affect the longevity of this storm. And I heard today in England that they're feeling that it's coming to a peak in 10 days, and that's unexpected. That we're in the accelerated process right now, or the where it doubles nearly every day, the impact of corona in England. But now they're already reporting that there's not so many cases as they expected, and that's us who are doing that by doing this, by allowing the transition to happen, knowing that souls are leaving and some will, but knowing also that we are affecting that storm, that we're allowing it to just shift towards our butterfly phase. And we're allowed to feel anything we are, which is the vulnerability. So it's not about being stoic and like a marching general with the stiff British upper lip. It's about allowing all of those feelings, but then also knowing that you are completely okay, that it all will be okay. So now I'm going to move on to Michelle. We put her on a little bit later, but I'm going to, shall I just play Michelle's ad and introduce her? So this is the final one of the visionary ads. Actually, I've got to say that, or today, that I was wondering if they would be useful for people who want a TEDx talk. That would be interesting for me to know. Do they help as an intro? They're very short. They're less than 3 minutes. That they have to be because of the audience, but it would be interesting. Just unmute briefly, Adam, tell me that.
Sorry, could you repeat the question again? I caught the second half of it, but I was making sure I was responding to the people who had said thank you, and it was useful in my session as well. So it's the short 3-minute videos, did you say?
Well, visionary ads are always less than 3 minutes, but my question to you is, would they be useful to send forward to people who want a TEDx talk? So for instance, I'd be interested in doing that at some point as an intro. Visionary ads are an intro to your work. Would it be the kind of thing that would be useful for people who want?
Yeah, great question. So in terms of that, I would generally lean towards yes. However, with a little note, much like I said before, no one size fits all. And it's much to do with the delivery. I think if you just, you know, shove that in a TEDx organizer's face, assuming that's going to get the job done, you might repel them. So it's about the delivery, like common sense. If that's in your arsenal, one of your tools, because part of, you know, in making sure it gets done is being visible, being everywhere. You know, if you, they're going to go and check you out online. So appearances matter. So, and that could be a subtle thing in your signature line. So that's really subtle. If you email them talking like, oh, can I find out about your TEDx? And you've got your ad that you just said in the signature line, they're going to go click on that. But you're not saying,
oh, interesting,
check this out, I'm the best, which is important. So I would say that is a great tool to have in your arsenal, much like a book or a podcast. They're going to go, I know they're going to go and check out my podcast and find all the stuff that's online. So you want to make sure you're doing the best so they find the right stuff. Because that's, you know, you can say something, but they're going to, nowadays, they're going to, Google is going to reveal a whole lot, and you've got to make sure you've got some, you know, you have got control over that and make sure you're putting your best foot forward. So
great, thank you. Just good to know.
No worries. Oh, before I go, I mean, as well with this, because I know we was going to do this actually at the event in person, you know, anyone who's listening, who's still here as well, if anyone wants to, you know, use me as a sounding board for their ideas, like, do they think this is, or can they, you know, is this an idea worth sharing? I'm happy to do, you know, idea clarity calls, because that's fun, number one, but it is really useful to get that outside perspective, and the fact that I'm into this world really helps as well.
Oh, thanks so much. That's great.
No worries.
So if you drop your email or contact details into that, and now I'm going to just go straight over to Michelle. Wherever you are, I'm going to play your, yeah, I've got it up on my, whoops. Let me just get here, share the screen. And this is the last one of the day. And then we'll speak to Michelle. Oh, hang on, whoops, I forgot, sorry, forgot something. There's one little button you have to click. There, just wanted to make sure. Let me try this.
Imagine being a newly divorced mom with full custody of 2 young kids and the one paying alimony. I would lie awake at night, terrified about how I was going to keep a roof over our heads.
I'm just going to mute that. Is there some weird noise going on?
Hey, Sally, it's not sharing, it's your emails that's on.
Oh my God. Okay, thanks. Stop share. Stop share again. Get this thing sorted. Okay, so first of all, I've got to get this off. And sorry about this. We'll do it all over again. I've got to get it up first and then share it. That's why. Okay, great. Now I'm going to share Michelle's ad again. Oh, Lord, help. Oh, no. I'm going to just do this. I've got to start again. I want you to see all of it. It's just gone into some, okay. Can you see this now?
Imagine being a newly divorced mom with full custody of 2 young kids and the one paying alimony. I would lie awake at night, terrified about how I was going to keep a roof over our heads. Getting through those times would later become the basis of my life's work as a financial coach. Hi, I'm Michelle Boss. I'm a wife and mother. I'm a healer. I'm a holistic and visionary financial coach and educator. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am a manifester of dreams. When I left corporate, my now husband pointed out a parcel of raw land to me. Curious, what started off as me asking questions turned into a calling, a dream to be in service, a vision to help all boats rise with the tide, a passion to create and nurture a place for others to gather and rejuvenate. I've run a $30 million retail store with 200 team members. I was a top sales rep in corporate for 12 years in a row. I've built a private coaching practice from scratch that's now full, and I'm building a 30-room inn with a $12.5 million budget in the California wine country that includes a home for my family. I knew when I saw this opportunity with the land, with the same intuition and instinctual savvy of a mother, that creating this dream was possible too. From gathering mentors and investors, this opportunity to transform native land has been waiting for me for over 20 years. Hey dreamers, I'm telling you that it's possible that your dreams can become a reality. And with my skill set, you can manifest them. I'm not your typical financial professional. I operate from an abundant mindset. Believe that you are your only limit, and I can turn your dreams into reality. Do you have a dream that's still calling? Let's talk.
Great. And where is she? Where is Miss Michelle?
I've just unmuted you, Michelle. Welcome.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, great. Well, no, you're definitely not like a normal financial coach at all. It's amazing seeing that. And maybe we could just talk about a little bit about your story. Obviously, the ad says a lot about your story, but you know, what was the main thing that you wanted to get across to people?
Well, as you gathered from the video, I have a background in yoga, and it's no accident that I'm here in this community. I've heard a lot of people, speakers and participants talking about Ayurveda and balance. And really that is where I bring my gift. My zone of genius is seeing the organization and the systems and the numbers and the bigger picture. And so bringing that holistic approach to money, which is so different than what, you know, the paradigm out there, what we see and what we experience. So yeah, this is such an honor to be here. I've enjoyed every minute of this event and just pure joy. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I mean, it's mutual. It's been such a pleasure to be with such a huge, big-hearted, big vision group of people, you know. And what I was really interested in with you, because I have dealt with a lot of finance in my life and, you know, working on investments and all of that, is how you took that vision of seeing a plot of land, which we went to actually, and it was just like, boom, you were off. And how rather than being a financial coach, you're actually a manifester of dreams. Which is,
and working with
yeah.
Your team was enlightening, because first of all, it didn't feel like work at all. It was a magical experience having Kareem and Ashwarya and Sally here, and in this land with this space and where I live and where I'm building this dream. And it's so much more than a vision or a dream. It is becoming a reality for the whole community here. And to be able to take that ability to see that vision and then just know the steps and how to get there is really what I want to share with others, and help them make their dreams a reality as well, manifest those.
Exactly. Because I think, you know, probably a lot of people have an idea of what a financial advisor would be. You know, I just instantly have a vision of a man in a dull gray suit. And I've met so many of those, you know, and then to see you totally vibrant, doing yoga, like part of the land, which I thought was one of the most amazing ways of presenting you, that you are the land, you're in the land. You know, the drone shots are amazing. Seeing in that land is just incredible. And then that knowing, how long is your build going to take? How long will this manifestation take?
So we are on track to start construction this year. It will be 6 to 9 months of construction and putting everything together. So operational in 2021.
Amazing.
Yeah. And what
will happen.
Right, what we didn't verbalize in the video is that, you know, just going back to the work that so many of us do on this call, and Natasha specifically, you know, I did work with the Akashic Records when evaluating the opportunity and planting the seeds. This goes back years now, 2 years ago, that I've been working on this project. So there's so many tools and so many ways of being and doing. It's not always a linear, you know, path, but bringing in all of those tools and different levels of energy and work into creating big things, amazing things. That doesn't happen overnight, but with the guidance, the perseverance, and staying with that vision, it can be.
Yeah, and I think every one of the speakers has given a different sort of section of how you move towards a great vision. And we've ended up with somebody who's actually literally building this amazing retreat center in wine country. And you know, like, that's what blows my mind. Actually, property always used to blow my mind, because, you know, there's an English saying, it's like bricks and mortar, they say. Adam will love the accent. I'm sure he'll get it. But it's like, if it's not, you know, it's not out there in this sort of ethereal realm, it's bricks and mortar. And when you see how property operates like that, it is the earth energy. It really is the element of earth. And, you know, you can't fake that. It's not just a wafty little idea. You either have made it or you haven't. Money is in the earth element too, and that's exactly what you're working with. So you're like if the main element that you would be working with in your business really is the earth element, and you've got to see it, taste it, smell it, for earth to really be there. You can't just say, oh yeah, I've got this little idea and whatever. It's like, you really have to manifest, and that's literally who you are. So it's a great way to end this incredible journey. We're slightly over by 7 minutes. I want to acknowledge all the speakers, and also to say that Lauren couldn't be here today, and that we were expecting her to speak on fear. So there was somebody missing, and many who were here, and the messages were amazing, the heart opening. It's been as wonderful to be the host with me and Monte as it has been probably to be a witness of this. It's just been incredible. And so we will, I'm sure, all in 6 months, be at very different places. Hopefully, some people will have just ignited their passion, you know, like suddenly they get that, yes, there's this shift that we have to do right now, but we can do it. And maybe this time, this is the phase of your, or the chapter of your life where you get to do the things that you really want to, you know. That's what I hope we end up with. And again, I'm just going to shout out and say thank you to everybody. So thank you, Monte. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Jenny and Mark. I'm racking my brains. Ashwarya, Karim. Who else? Help me. Who else have I?
Thank you, Diana.
Diana.
Jaimsyne, did you say?
Jaimsyne. You know, all of you. I've just made it my weekend just incredible. And I think, you know, last week I was having a few tiny moments of wobbly stuff going on around Corona, and now I just feel so solid. The So Solid crew in the house. So all of you guys, you know, we want to stay in touch with you. Anybody who needs help on any areas, you know, Michelle also, she's finance. So if you want to work with the earth elements, and the beautiful Michelle, who is not a man in a gray suit, do you want to drop your information? Oh, you have, great. So Michelle's put that there too. And let's stay in touch. You know, all of you guys stay safe, stay happy, don't get freaked out. This will pass. Send your butterflies of intention all over the world. Send healing. And, you know, and one day we'll meet physically in some beautiful event like this was meant to be. And maybe next year we'll have the live event, you know. I still want to do it in LA. Thank you, Adam. I forgot to thank you. Thank you, thank you. It was wonderful getting those 10 steps, kind of veers me in the right direction. And that's a wrap, you know, amazing group of people. Have an amazing weekend. Love you guys so much. And we will follow up so that you can connect with everybody and also know where to find me. Oh, I do want to mention one thing. Thank you, Candace. We love you, Sally. I love it. I love me too. I was sending love to myself today when people were asking us to say I love you. This year, we have the privilege of having a year of 13 moons. And one of the other sides of the work that I do, which is free and very deep for me, is to do these guided meditations, and specifically on the moons. So most years you have a moon a month, which is 12 moons, that's normal. This year we have got 13 moons. And so every lunar calendar, once you've signed up for that, you'll be given information to join the different lunar meditations and manifestations. And there's one this Tuesday coming up. So if you are interested in that, total freebie, it's just all this kind of work of connection and manifestation. Please put moon in there and we'll make sure you get the link for that. Once you've signed up once, you'll get them all year. It's not like a rampage of information. It's just literally, we want to get you, so I can send you the Zoom link, and it's like that. It's all the spiritual work that I do. And I know that Diana is doing something that evening. It won't work for the US, most of them, I think, but it will for the Brits. If you want another one on the same night. So I'll be doing Tuesday at 4 p.m. GMT or BST, which is British Summertime, which is 8 a.m. Pacific on Tuesday. So yeah, put moon, I'll send those all to you. Want to send you so much love, and have a great, great rest of the weekend, and, you know, into next week, feeling safe, hopefully secure, grounded, full of possibility. Okay. See you later. Namaste. So much love.